Hello, my loves. This reading is for you if you feel like you're a late bloomer. And what I mean by that is it doesn't have to be related to your age, but just more so in terms of life, if you think that you're running behind or you're not as satisfied and you feel like you really haven't come into your fullest expression. So this is for you. So the cards that have come out really show me that even though you may be a late bloomer, you would have received some sort of success or recognition um, that you've got over the years, over your career, maybe your purpose, whatever it is. But it feels like you've reached some amount of success or stature. And it might have been hard to get here. No one's denying that. It might have also felt like a very lonely path. But, or you feel lonely or that the environment that you're in isn't conducive or supportive for who you're trying to become or what's sort of emerging within you, because there seems to be a deeper calling and this desire for freedom and fuller expression of the self that is not being supported by your current environment. And that sort of creates some aspect of not fear, but doubt and restriction and constriction. And I also feel that you have, there's also, there might also be a degree of fear to take a leap of faith and to do something differently or explore a new path, a new passion, your spirituality, whatever it is. There might be a degree of hesitancy with that because everything on the surface in the 3D seems to be going well for you. Or even if it's your spirituality, the way you've done spirituality so far, or the way you thought, or yeah, what you thought spirituality was supported you so far, but there's something deeper calling to you. And it's leading you to a lot of abundance and a lot of freedom. But I actually want to get more cards on this fear or this hesitancy in going for it. Can we get 1 to 2 cards, please, Spirit, on that? Yeah. Yeah, it could be related to your childhood, your growing up years. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Because one, it could be financial stability. Either you didn't have that growing up, so now whatever this new venture is, it feels, even though it feels really exciting, it feels really expansive, and it feels like it would utilize your full capacity and you'll be challenged. You have probably either been conditioned by your caretakers growing up, or you experienced lack where it was just like having a job or having a family or whatever is what's going to give you the stability you need to thrive. And that sort of lack mindset has seeped its way into your conditioning. But you are being asked to sit with this childlike essence within you that has the capacity to dream, even though it might not have dreamed so far. I think it's starting to dream again. And instead of writing it off because it's ridiculous to restart or it's ridiculous to do something at this point in your life that's different, just allow that inner child to dream. And you don't have to do anything about it. Just listen to that dream and see where it takes you, because I think it's actually going to reprogram the masculine within you, because we all have feminine and masculine elements within us. And this is really a call to reacquaint with the masculine, because I think the masculine that is there within you has operated from lack and scarcity for a really long time. So, whether it's material stability, whether it's time, whether it's planning, whether it's providing, whether it's whatever, right? It feels like it's coming from a place of lack and a place of protection, but not protection that's freeing, protection that's more constricting or restrictive. And I think that whatever this calling that is there for you right now. It's inviting you to reacquaint and reprogram your masculine to be softer, to be more receptive, to be more open. And I think it's going to give you a very different understanding of the masculine energy. And that is actually going to be extremely healing, and it's going to cure is not the right word. It's going to soften the older paradigm that you have been operating in. So can we get any more information, please, Spirit, for our perceived late bloomers watching this video? Mm, yeah. So we have the pilgrim coming out first, and the pilgrim is really showing me how, previously maybe the way that you've been programmed to think is very outcome oriented, which is also the older paradigm of the masculine. And through this dream that's awakening, this calling that is coming forth, that is becoming louder and more apparent, the pilgrim is really inviting you to fall in love with the journey and to see how the journey in itself is the gift. Because, when we look at outcomes, if we reach a particular outcome, it's so fleeting and it becomes a journey again. So, for example, let's say your outcome is I want to be CEO, and you get to being CEO. You've ticked off that check mark and you've achieved the outcome. But now it's another journey, right? Because there is a lot of stress and responsibility and um, everything else that comes with being a CEO. So it becomes another journey. And then your next goal will be, I want to achieve XYZ. And you will, but then after that, there'll always be something else, right? And there's nothing wrong with having different outcomes and wanting more things. But when we fall in love with the journey and when we rest into the journey, everything becomes more spacious and everything starts to have more life and soul infused in it. So every step is exciting. Every step, even every misstep, becomes exciting because it's perceived more as a learning curve. It's looked at as a deepening of your journey. So this is really inviting you to fall in love with the journey, fall in love with the path, because that's actually where a lot of the wisdom and the magic comes forth. We also have the destroyer and the ring. And this is actually, ooh, the ring is really interesting. But let me actually, wait, where do I want to go first? Okay, I'm actually going to go with the ring because I'm seeing the Ouroboros when I'm talking about the ring, right? And that's actually, it's the Ouroboros is a snake biting its own tail. And that talks about the cycle of death and rebirth. And coming next to the destroyer, it makes a lot of sense. And it's also asking you to have the courage to not walk away from things prematurely, but just really inquiring with the self, what is ready to die from my life? What is ready to be put to rest? Is it a personal belief? Is it an orientation you have within life? So it could be something that's happening within you, or it could be something more external, like, is it where you're working? Is it the people that you're hanging out with? Is it, um, I don't know, other responsibilities that no longer feel supportive to you or the life that you're trying to cultivate? And that's actually going to be really powerful because once you start sitting with the question, more answers and more questions will arise, which will get you clearer on where you want to go in life. And that in turn will help you eradicate the things that are no longer in resonance with who you're becoming. And in doing so, you're creating more space for the things that are more aligned to enter. Because as back of deck energy, we have the temple, and the temple is a place of worship, yes, but more than that, it's filled with sacred geometry. It's created with the architecture of sound and frequency, and all of these things are very spacious, and it's all about resonance. So you can't you can't resonate with the life and attract the things that are meant for you if you're still operating from an old framework that's ready to be dissolved. So that's something that's coming through really strongly. And there's something else here with, is it with the ring? No. Okay. It wants me to pull more cards. So any advice or guidance, please, Spirit, with regards to this? The star. Oh, I love this. We have the star and the Mother of Cups. Beautiful. Yeah, so what you're dreaming of, what you're calling forth is so beautiful and it's so inspiring and it just makes your heart and your soul sing. So you're really being asked to go for it and just flow with it, right? Just allow yourself to dream, like I said, and allow yourself the permission to do it, because I think a lot of this is just about giving yourself permission and the green light to be like, you know what? I've lived so much of my life the way I was supposed to. I've done everything the way I've been taught to. I have been a good person. I have, and no one's asking you to be a bad one. I don't even know. But like, I have been a good girl, a good child, a good boy, a good person, whatever it is, right? And that is that's been great. And you've learned a lot from there. And I think you've learned a lot of discipline. You've learned a lot of um, responsibility and commitment and perseverance and grit and all of these things. And now it's the time to really break away from that and just be more free with life. Trust that you have this dream for a reason. So, with that, Spirit, is there anything else that you would like to tell? Sacred action, decisive focus. Exactly. So, once you dream and once you give yourself permission to dream and you allow this calling to have more room in expressing its desires for you and your desires for it, then you're going to have to actually take action, because otherwise it's just in the dream space, right? It's just in the ethereal, it's just in your mind, it's just in your emotions. But there'll always be some sense of dissonance because it's just in your thoughts and emotions and dreams, not in any actionable steps or in your reality. So I think first step is dreaming, second step is acting on the dream and acting on what needs to be removed from your life as well. Opening heart, deep connections, water blessing. Yeah. So I think that with the opening heart card that's here, I think that the guidance is to really deepen your connection with your heart, sort of going behind the ego, right? Because the ego is the one that protects us. The ego is the one that gives us our identity, and it is the one that it honestly, the ego is so badly misperceived because it's got a bad reputation, but that's not the truth. The ego is just trying its best to protect us based on the information and the data it already has. So here, the invitation is to drop down behind the ego, connect with your heart, connect with your soul. If you are a feminine bodied person, connect with the womb. And that is what's actually going to help you reach the core of your desire. And then we can move up towards the ego and then reprogram the ego, right? But first, you need to get behind the ego to even allow yourself to dream. And the reason this is so important is because the ego, especially if you consider yourself a late bloomer, right? The ego is, like I said, is the one that gives us our identity and our sense of self and our self perception. So this dream might actually threaten the perfectly curated and cultivated identity that you've made for yourself. And it can be jarring to break that down. So whatever you do, do it in baby steps, right? That's all you need to do. Kind of think of it as walking into the ocean here with water blessings. Like when you're on the beach and you're standing and the waves hit you, it just touches your ankles. Then you take a few steps further, and then maybe it's covering your shins, then your knees, then your thighs. And then once you feel safe or once you feel confident, then you can swim in the ocean. And you might not do it straight away, right? You might just feel comfortable letting the water reach your hips, and then you might just go back to the beach. And that's totally fine too. And then maybe a few months later, you feel a little bit more confident to submerge yourself up to your chest, right? And that's how you're being invited to go through with this. And that's also part of falling in love with the journey with that pilgrim card that came through. It's just like, oh, I loved getting myself wet till my hips, my waist, right? And it was great. And that's all I needed to do for right now. And this is what I loved. And it just allows to percolate, it allows to marinate, and your love for the water, the ocean, the depths, your dreams just becomes richer and richer. And so when you go back to the ocean, it just gives you a little bit more confidence to go a little deeper. So it's not about the goal of just swimming in the ocean or going deep sea diving. It's more just the little joys of each progressive step. Anything else? Whoa, that's a lot. I'm going to take this. Wisdom, learning, joy, art, and music. Oh, and miracles, ancient wisdom. I love this so much. Yeah, with wisdom, learning, joy, art, music, have fun with this. I think you've been serious for so much of your life, and I think this is just really asking you to fall back into the joy of learning, the joy of curiosity, the potential of curiosity, and just also basking in beauty because beauty is beauty is something that's really underrated. It's sort of reduced to a very aesthetic understanding of the word. But, even if you look at Plato and Plato's forms, which are these foundational aspects of reality that are so profound that it can only be perceived by human imagination or by human experience, but it's actually beyond human experience. Beauty is one of them. And just really seeing the beauty in life is what is going to help you ease or soften the rigidity of your ego, your identity, of what you think life should be. And with miracles, I think it's just going to, the second you open yourself up to dream, the second you open yourself up to a life beyond what you have experienced, miracles will start flowing into your life. And these might be small miracles, these might be ancient miracles, big miracles, but I feel like something deeper within you is going to come online, and that is going to be a remembrance of who your soul is, what your essence is, not just what you've taught to be. So I hope this made sense to you, and I hope it conveyed the depth of what's trying to be conveyed here. If you want to go deeper, you're welcome to book a personal reading with me. And if not, just allow this reading to sort of seed itself and unravel in your realizations with the days and weeks to come. And give yourself permission to fly, give yourself permission to spread your wings because I don't think you even knew you had wings up until now. And I think that gave you time to learn who you are without flying, who you are on ground. And now it's time for you to experience a different vantage point of reality. So I hope you have a great day or night whenever you're listening in, and I'll hopefully catch you in the next one.